Are you looking for a new FIFA 22 career mode challenge but are unsure of which team to use? Then let me take that stress away as we have an in-depth look at 3 excellent team choices. As the video title suggests, all 3 team suggestions will either have already clinched or be fighting for promotion. So first up, already clinched promotion to the Premier League are Fulham. However, a young player who won't be at Fulham next season is Fabio Carvalho, who's signed for Liverpool, so I recommend manually completing that transfer prior to starting the career mode. The next step is to manually swap Fulham with any of the current Premier League bottom 3, which are Norwich, Watford and sadly for me, Everton. Give yourself a Premier League promotion bonus of around 50 million to spend on 1 or 2 new marquee signings. Fulham's default formation is a 4-2-3-1 wide, and because of their recent Premier League history, Fulham are blessed with a squad with many real faces, including goalkeeper Paulo Gazzaniga, goalkeeper Fabrizio, a third real face goalkeeper is the youngster Luca Ashby-Hammond, American left back Anthony Robinson, left back Joe Bryan, centre back Tosin Adarabayo, American centre back Tim Ream, centre back Alfie Mawson, centre back Terence Congolo, on loan from Liverpool right back Nico Williams, FIFA 16 career mode favourite Kenny Tete. A few real faces also out on loan: Steven Sessegnon, the best hair in FIFA Marlon Fossey, and Cyrus Christie. Back to the players not out on loan with real faces: central defensive midfielder Harrison Reed, central defensive midfielder Jean-Michael Seri, central defensive midfielder Nathaniel Chalobah, left midfielder Neeskins Cabano, left midfielder Ivan Cavallero, the captain central midfielder Tom Kearney, out on loan at Napoli Zambo Anguissa, another former high potential career mode favourite Josh Onoma, former Brighton right midfielder Anthony Knockaert, right midfielder Bobby De Cordova-Reid, Welsh international midfielder Harry Wilson, and finally the record-breaking goalscorer Alexander Mitrovic. If you wanted to use the Youth Academy in a Fulham career mode, I would suggest scouting firstly in England and then look for the next Fabio Carvalho in Portugal and then for the next Mitrovic in Serbia. Whichever team you decided to swap Fulham with at the start of career mode, I recommend raiding their club for some of their best players. And because Fulham have mainly real face players, I suggest only signing players also with a game face. So from Norwich you could sign Matthias Normas for around 9 million, centre back Andrew Obamidele for around 2 million, left midfielder Milo Rashica with a potential of 78 for around 11 million, American striker Josh Sargent with a potential of 78 should cost around 4 million. And finally from Norwich, their Greek wonderkid Christos Solis, who has a potential of 84 and should cost around 7 million. But like I alluded to at the start of the video, we're going to spend most of the budget on 1 or 2 marquee signings, and the first one that I suggest is Vitinha from Porto, who has a potential of 87 and should cost around 25 million. Or you could spend all of your budget on Mitrovic's Serbian international teammate Sergej Milenkovic-Savic from Lazio, but it'll cost you around 60 million. But I decided to go for the exciting prospect from Porto, Vitinha, who I think is a perfect replacement for Fabio Carvalho. However, if you don't want to take Fulham back to the Premier League, why not head over to Germany, where Schalke are about to make a return to the Bundesliga. So you will need to swap Schalke with a team in the Bundesliga relegation places, which is either Arminia Bielefeld or Greuther Fürth. Even though Schalke do have a decent starting budget, give yourself a promotion financial takeover bonus of around 10 million. Schalke's default formation is a good old-fashioned 4-4-2, and they have a couple of players with real faces and a few with a decent potential. The first of which is centre-back Malik Thiaw. They have a real face centre-back in veteran Salif Sane. One of my first jobs as Schalke manager would be to recall Ozan Kabak from his loan spell at Norwich. That way you've got a player with a decent potential and a real face. And likewise for the Welsh winger Rabi Matondo, recall him from his loan spell at Cercle Bruges, and he might just jump up to an exciting prospect. I'd also be tempted to recall Amin Harit from his loan spell at Marseille, just to sell to generate extra funds. And Schalke's final real face player is a striker, Simon Terode. If you was going to use the Youth Academy in a Schalke career mode, I would suggest scouting firstly in Germany and then in Turkey, Austria or Poland. My first transfer target for a Schalke career mode would be a nostalgic one in bringing Max Meyer back to the club. However, this would have to be a long-term target as he's out on loan in Season 1. In Season 2, it should cost around 4 million. Rating the club that I swapped Schalke with in the Bundesliga, Greuther Fürth, I would also look at real face central midfielder Timothy Tillman, who should cost around 2 million. Another option from Greuther Fürth would be career mode legend left back Jethro Williams, who has a real face and should cost around 3 million. I would also look at some of the best young players from the Austrian league, including Salzburg centre back Brian Oko, who should cost around 1.8 million, and his RB Salzburg teammate striker Benjamin Šeško, who should cost around 3 million. And I'd also look at the highest potential young player in the Polish league, Jakub Kaminski, who should cost around 3 million. The final team suggestion in this video would involve swapping Toulouse with a team in the Ligue 1 relegation zone. And because of their manual promotion to Ligue 1, I would recommend giving a financial takeover of around 10 million. The default formation for Toulouse is a 4-3-3 holding, but sadly they have no players with a real face. They do have a couple of young players with a decent potential, the best of them being Nathan Ngumu with a potential of 79, closely followed by Yanis Berauji, who has a potential of 76. When scouting for Youth Academy players for a Toulouse career mode, I recommend scouting in France and then a French-speaking African nation. Raid the team you manually relegated for their best players. For me, that was Metz, so I looked at striker Ibrahim Nione, potential of 78 and a price of around 5 million. And their next best young player is a teenage centre-back, Lenin Lacroix, potential of 77, it should only cost you around 1 million. The rest of the transfer targets are all from the French 2nd Division, including Alain Virginius from Sechua. He has a potential of 82 and should cost you around 2 million. Warren Bondo from Nancy, he's a central midfielder or right midfielder, overall of 63, potential of 80 and should cost around 1.5 million. The final two players are both from Caen. First up we have Johan Le Pennon, who is a central defensive midfielder, 18 years of age, 68 overall, potential of 82 and a price of around 2.5 million. And finally we have teenage centre-back Brahim Traore, who has an overall of 62, a potential of 80 and is a bargain at only 1 million. So if you were looking for a new FIFA 22 career mode challenge, but you were unsure of what team to use, then you are welcome. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to tune in next time, but until then, it's FCG out.